Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
I'm with Don Kern. We left off with our discussion of all things Michigan running with his typical parting words in his writings, and the adventure continues. Where is the adventure continuing to in this year of COVID 2021 with you running fresh on your new knees and planning to put on marathons and, other deviations from reality going forward?
Well, I am excited about being able to get back to running some marathons. There's a nice series of marathons that they put on with the mainly marathon series. And it's a lot of the old guys that I've been hanging out with for many, many years, but they have no time limits on them, which means, and they run multiple states in multiple days in a row. So, truthfully, I could knock out 2 or 3 states that I need to get in the next, within a week, even if I have to walk most of them. So I'm kind of excited about that because I've been kind of stuck for a couple of years now. I've got 14 states to go to get my 4th time around all 50 states. And so I'm looking forward to that. But, in the meantime, I have managed to have a couple little adventures. Most recently, I did a little, what I call a bohemian adventure. I just got in the car and took off and I did a couple of national parks. I did a couple of state high points. I saw a lot of interesting things. I saw an interesting spot called Kentucky Bend, which is a spot in the Mississippi River where it's kind of like surrounded by Missouri. And then there's a loop of the Mississippi River where there's Kentucky in the middle, and below that is the Tennessee border. So you can't get there except for going through Tennessee to get to that little spot. And really, it's just a bunch of farmland in the middle of the river bottom. But, I just went there to say I was there. So it's kind of you find adventures when you can get them. But meanwhile, I'm training right now. I'm trying to get myself back to running. I've run 2 miles in a row for 3 days now, and without having to stop and walk or anything. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm running pathetically slowly, but making it happen. So, but we are looking forward to a lot of things happening this year. The COVID getting over with, people are getting their shots, and we should be back in full speed for marathons this fall. And I hope to be back at full speed for marathons this fall. And maybe I definitely want to go down and run Fox Valley again. But I want to pick up a couple of states that I haven't done in the past and or haven't done recently. And, like I said, make up for the rest of my 14 states that I haven't run 4 marathons in. So looking forward to that.
Well, part of the adventure is sharing it with others and inspiring them to try to pull off their own kind of mischief. So as a writer and as a communicator, what kind of spirit do you want to leave your listeners or your participants sort of feeling, the sort of empowerment or energized kind of thing?
Well, that's one of the reasons I put out a newsletter, and I started doing it way back in the early days of the first year I was doing the marathon. And, it kind of grew into a thing to where now I do not miss a week of doing a newsletter on a Thursday. And, I just like to share the stories with people. I've had the experience of really traveling all over the world. I've run marathons on all 7 continents 5 times. I had a world record for running all 7 continents in the fewest number of days, which was 25 days, 18 hours and 10 minutes. I wrote a book about that. Here it is for sale on my website.
Shameless plugs. Yep.
Yeah. Shameless plugs. Fun. But anyway, so I love to share it with people because, there's a lot of people who, even in Grand Rapids, they may not have ever run a marathon until there was one here that they could run, because it's convenient. It's like, oh yeah, can you want to run a marathon? Because there is one in town. And so there's a lot of people we've done that for, but in the process, I've been able to share, every week a little bit with the people that have run my race. And I've got 20,000 people on my mailing list now. And, I'm able to kind of share that and make them realize, like, hey, if you can do this, you can do anything. And so it's just a continual weekly, every week they hear a little bit of something, and they learn a little bit about something, and maybe I'll give them some training tips. Maybe I'll just say something that will randomly inspire them. Maybe it'll amuse them. Maybe it'll get them aggravated at me. That happens once in a while, but not very often. And but I get good feedback. Yesterday, the one I put out this morning, and I've had 3 or 4 people say, "Hey, I never heard that story before," about the Frogger 5.5K we used to do out at the Hair of the Frog Brewery, and an adventure you shared with us one year, I remember,
Oh, yeah.
and then wrote about Michigan Runner, which was
Ice
kind of
storm, yes.
the ice storm year. And we had a blast with that. It was a little off the wall, but it was a predecessor to the marathon that we put on now. And so I've been able to turn my little off the wall instigated events at breweries into basically a career.